Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman, your humble host on a Wednesday. Beautiful looking day. Hope you're not stuck in the traffic I can see out the window on I-435. If you are, just relax. Don't go honking at the cars around you. Enjoy the show. Enjoy what we have for you absolutely free on radio. All you got to do is turn it on and enjoy. We appreciate you being here each and every day. I think we got a fine show lined up for you today, including a little bit later on, we'll talk with Mark about the Royals game last night in St. Louis that everybody in town is buzzing about. The Royals not only offensively were the best they've been all year, it was a very strange Royals game. They came from behind and scored a bunch of runs, and Jack Caglione made his major league debut and hit the ball hard, but wasn't really part of the action, and that's okay. That's okay. There seems to be a new optimism around the Royals these days. We'll talk about that later with Mark. We have the Congressman from Missouri, Mark Alford, joining us at 10:30. It's been a while since we've had Congressman Alford on. We will talk about the big, beautiful bill and a couple of pieces of legislation that he's been working on very well, including the Transparency and Productivity and Small Business Opportunity Act that has passed. He's doing great work there. Appreciate that. Always good to talk with Congressman Alford. And, of course, we'll sprinkle in your phone calls as well. I'll also address what Pete was talking about just a few minutes ago, and that is this city money to storefronts that are empty to pay rent for businesses that want to start up to come in, so people who come in for the World Cup from out of the country will think we're better than we are. Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm going to save that. I was going to talk about that early in the show, but Pete was just on it, so we'll get to that a little bit later. I'll start today with something that I really want to be tongue-in-cheek, but it's a very serious topic. We know that we have an illegal alien problem in this country, and we know we have a criminal problem with illegal aliens in this country. And sometimes you can't fix stupid. When it comes to criminals, they're dumb. I know we've talked about the guy who shot the Lee Summit officer here and got picked up in Ellis, Kansas, probably a place where he stood out a little bit. We heard that story and what happened there. Criminals aren't the smartest people in the world. But I think this guy takes the cake. The terrorist in Colorado officially gets, and again, I know 8 people were hurt. Nobody died. This isn't the worst terror attack on American soil. And I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, but it's only comical because it's true. This is the single worst Muslim terrorist in the history of the United States. Like, you can't be worse than this guy. It's comical. This guy's a train wreck of a terrorist. Like, he gives terrorists a bad name because he couldn't get one thing accomplished that he wanted to get accomplished. This dude took a year plotting his attack. And over the course of that year, he couldn't get a gun in a country where we're told it's easier to get a gun than anywhere in the world. Let me repeat that. Where are the gun people today? Where are the Democrats? Is anybody going to ask a Democrat? We thought it was so easy to get a gun in this country. How come Muhammad Solomon couldn't get a gun? He spent a year not getting a gun. You're telling me this guy is a Muslim terrorist who thinks he's going to die and has left notes behind for his family. He's going to kill Jews because he hates Jews, and he doesn't care if he's going to die. He's going to be a martyr. He's going to meet those virgins. It is all good in his world. You're telling me this is the crime he's going to commit, and he couldn't find one person anywhere in Colorado to illegally give him a gun or sell it to him or get it for him or pull off a crime and steal one. It's not like he's not willing to commit a crime. This guy was going to commit any crime in the book and couldn't get a gun. That makes him the worst terrorist ever. So he's making homemade bombs. He's taking little glass jars and he's filling them up with gas and a handkerchief, and he's going to set them on fire and throw them. So he's got no gun after a year. He takes 16 of these things and he throws 2 of them. And by the way, it's caught on video. He throws like a freaking girl. All right, let's call this worst terrorist in history what he is. He's terrible. He's wearing jeans and no shirts. Nothing good ever happens from a person with jeans and no shirt. We know this. This is America. What does he think? He's a redneck? He thinks he's in the deep south getting ready to go out in the field somewhere and pick something, or he's going to get on a tractor and cut his crops, or what is it he's going to do? I don't know. I remember the last time I saw somebody in jeans and no shirt. It's an old look. But there's nothing good going to happen here. He killed nobody. So he failed miserably. He didn't die a martyr. What a shame. He brought his family here. Yeah, he brought his whole family here. His wife and his 5 kids. And he waited until his daughter graduated high school because she's like an honor student or something. She's going to med school and she's got a scholarship and she wants to be a doctor. Why are they here? She can't be a doctor where they're from. Where did they move? Kuwait. They were from Egypt, moved to Kuwait. She can't be a doctor. She can't go to medical school there. They don't like women much in the Middle East. They treat them pretty crappy, to be honest. They're pretty awful. Muslims are pretty bad to women. It's right there in their good book. That's who and what they are. But his daughter, he wanted a good life for her in the United States, medical school, the whole deal. He screwed that up. They're getting deported before he is. This is unbelievable. He wanted to die by cop, a martyr, leave his daughter in medical school and his family in America at a time after Donald Trump's elected. He didn't do this before the election? What on earth was this guy thinking? This is easily the worst Muslim terrorist of all time. He gives all the other Muslim terrorists a terrible name. This guy isn't capable of anything. This was the worst. This guy's an absolute clown show. And he ruined his family's life. He's going to be the only one here. And I'm going to guess he gets deported somewhere different than the rest of them. That the family is going to stay separated. And the left is taking the bait. There are people out there crying that this poor girl who came to America because she can't. You know what the story is? The story is they came here illegally because the country they're from does not allow her to be a doctor or to go to medical school. Right? That's the story. We still have countries on earth that don't allow women to go to college. Saudi Arabia, just a few years ago, started letting women drive cars. I mean, this is unbelievable, the things that happen on this planet and what leftists in this country worry about. They want you to be totally mortified that this poor girl that just graduated high school can't go to medical school now in the United States. And this just in, she was never going to be a surgeon. I'm sorry. I don't mean to shatter her dreams. I'm sure she's a nice little student and the whole deal. She was not going to be a surgeon. All right, there's skill involved with that as well. That's not just reading crap in a book and passing a test. All right? This girl was not going to be a surgeon, so her dreams are not crushed. They crushed her dreams in her home country, and they came here. And maybe we look at this guy and go, well, maybe he came here for the right reason for his family. Oh, but you got to leave that Jew-hating behind if you're coming here, dude. You want to be a Muslim extremist here? You're going to have a little bit of a problem with that. Even in Boulder, Colorado, where clearly you had picked out places to go commit this crime where you thought they were going to go easy on you, which is what they're all doing, which is why ICE just rounded up 1,500 people in Boston over the weekend that were all illegal aliens and all committed very serious crimes. They caught them in one weekend and are deporting all of them. Why were they there? Because it's a sanctuary place. All the criminal illegal aliens know where to go. They're not that stupid. Somehow it's easier to get in this country and be an illegal alien than it is to throw a Molotov cocktail. Because this guy was not very good as a terrorist in any real way, shape, or form. And all he did was ruin his own life when it sounded like he had a death wish until the moment came before him, and then he didn't want to die, and he didn't want a conflict. And the cops came, and he laid, there's a P word to describe this guy. This guy thought he was going to die. He left notes behind, and he just went to the ground and laid his arms out. No, that wasn't suicide by cop. He chickened out. He chickened out in everything that he was doing. And now his family's life is a shambles, and they got to go somewhere else. And I'm not sure where that is. Oh, yeah, this guy's the worst terrorist ever. And I'm tired of capitulating to these Muslim extremists. We do not have to adhere to their culture in the United States. We have to accept them in anything that they do, as we would with any people. But an incident happened this weekend on CBS Sports at a soccer match. A UFC fighter was there, a famous UFC fighter. I don't know who this guy is. His name's Khabib Nurmagomedov. And I don't know exactly which country he's from, but he's a very devout Muslim. And he comes up after the match as the celebrity analyst to talk about what they had just seen. And Henry Thierry is there, and all these big stars, and the anchors are on the set. It's one of those deals where on the side of the field, imagine like Fox NFL football, where Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan, they're all just standing there on the side of the field. And there's one woman on the set. and he comes over to be their guest, and he has a microphone, and he shakes the hand of all 4 dudes, and Kate Scott reaches out to him. That's her name, I believe, Kate Scott. Kate Scott of CBS Sport reaches her hand out to shake his hand, and he puts his hand on his chest and shakes his head no. We do not shake the hands of women. I'm a Muslim. She pulls her hand back, and she says, "Oh, I apologize," and puts her hand on her heart and semi-bows to him. What the hell? You're an American. You are an American first. He can be Muslim. Reach your hand out. If he doesn't want to shake it, give him a dirty look and say, this is our culture. This is our country. We shake hands. We've watched our presidents wear garb. We watched Obama dress up. We've watched him bow to Asian leaders and emperors and all these other things. But you come around us? I'm so sorry. I forgot you hate women. That's fine. You can hate me. No, Kate, at that point, he told you in front of however many people were watching that you are not his equal and you don't belong there. I might have gone for the dude's throat, except he was a UFC fighter. I thought women were supposed to fight for women's rights in this country. Oh, but not when you're a leftist and not when it comes to Muslims. This is the hill the left is dying on now. We're going to side with the terrorists. We're going to side with UFC dude who won't acknowledge a woman. And she asked him a question and he answered it. I think he had to, but he won't shake her hand because you don't belong here, ma'am. Do you not understand what my book tells me when I read it? What it tells me about you? You shouldn't even be driving your car. Darn sure shouldn't be asking me questions. This isn't right. These are the people we're kowtowing to. We're going to feel sorry for this girl that can't go to college. And the worst, I was never going to use the guy's name. I don't like using these people's names. We got to remember this name. Mohammed Solomon, the single worst Muslim terrorist in the history of Muslim terrorism. And we can call him Boulder, Colorado guy at this point. I don't really care. We won't embarrass Boulder. I'm good with that too, because they're really soft on these people. And the federal government's going to take this one over clearly, which is going to help a lot because I'm not sure what Boulder would have done to him, but he is the worst terrorist of all time. 913-408-7957, the number to call. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
You know, honey, about 9 months ago, you said you were going to be a terrorist. How's that going? Well, not very good. I've been trying to find a gun. I can't get one. I've been practicing my cocktail throwing, though, but you know what? I kind of throw like a girl. This could end up poorly. I might not be able to kill anybody, and you guys could get deported. Our daughter may not get to go to med school. And I may chicken out and not die a martyr. I don't know. I'm gonna go through with it, though. I'm gonna keep trying to be a terrorist. I told Mark during the break, that reporter for CBS, who the Muslim dude wouldn't shake her hand, if that happened to my wife, oh my God, it would have been the ugliest thing you ever saw. Now, maybe not on live TV, but it was like in the hallway here at Cumulus or something like that. It would have been the biggest FU, and she might have gone right up in his face before storming out. It would have been unbelievable. Seriously, it's 2025. We don't disrespect women like that. I don't care what your book says. Figure it out. We have cultural standards. We are a nation first. It's just unbelievable, some of these things that we see. It's not unlike what we're going to do here in Kansas City, and that is we're going to put on everything possible fake we can for whoever comes here for the World Cup next summer. And the latest is $1.4 million that the city council in Kansas City, Missouri wants to approve and give to people. If you want to start a business, they're going to subsidize your business in a pretty big way. They're going to give you $25,000 worth of free rent if you just pick out one of 30 stores where businesses have already gone out of business downtown. And 6 art studios, if you want to start an art studio. I'm thinking, some people are going to be like, you know what, there's not anymore. Well, there's not a really good coffee shop. Maybe I'll open one of those. Or, you know what, there's not enough bookstores around. Let's open one of those. Or how about a tattoo parlor? Let's do that. I wonder what they'll approve and not approve. They want to give you $25,000 worth of free rent in something called the Storefront Revitalization Project. Here's why government doesn't work, and here's why this doesn't work. And I thought John Anthony had the best one. He said, let's film a movie down there. They'll put facades up. Just fake it. Just make it look like there's businesses open when there aren't. Because if you go paying the rent for these people, after you stop paying their rent, they're going out of business again. None of them are going to succeed. They're going to get hooked on the free money, and it's not going to work. But there's all kinds of strange things happening in Kansas City. Have you guys noticed all these stats that are out there about the murder rate around the country? The murder rates are way down in our major cities. I mean, not just a little bit. They are way down. 63% down in Denver, 31% down in New Orleans, 35% down in St. Louis, 24% down in Chicago, 27% in New York City. These are massive drops since Trump became president. And the reason why is pretty obvious. It's the ICE raids. When you go to Boston and you take 1,500 people out in one weekend that are all violent criminals, your crime rate's going down. That doesn't sound like a lot of people. But remember, not very many people are violent criminals. It's a really small percentage of our population. You go taking a few thousand out of sanctuary cities, and you've really reduced the crime rate. Kansas City's murder rate is up 17% this year. So I can't figure this out. Do we not have illegal aliens that ICE is after here? Is ours all just domestic? Is it American kids in gangs that are causing all this violence and break-ins? Because our crime really isn't dropping here. And we haven't heard of any massive ICE raids. We heard of the one of a Mexican restaurant. I think that was maybe in the Northland earlier this year, and people freaked out. Oh, they went in the kitchen and hauled some guy out of the kitchen or whatever. When are they getting to Kansas City? Because our murder rate's up, and we're in the news a lot. Global news about the crime going on in Kansas City. Could the federal government please come here and target Kansas City and get us some raids? It's impossible for me to believe that there are not illegal alien gangs operating here because we watched Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes get their houses broken into. And we know those were Chilean gangs. We need some help here. Maybe they're starting in other cities first, and that's the reason the crime rates are down in those places. But I can't think of any other way or any other reason that the crime rates are down in those cities and not here. It's just got to be the way. All right, Mark, my screen went dead on me. Who we got on line one there? I want to get his phones. Mark in Shawnee. I always see the name on the phone, but I never know if that's the name they're using. We got a lot of people that use different names. Mark in Shawnee, how are you, buddy? Good morning.
Good, Kevin. How you doing?
Great, sir.
I'm calling just to kind of emphasize your point. America is so great because we're so competitive. That's the nature of who we are. That's why we're so advanced in so many different things. And when you think about the Muslim population, Europe has a problem right now with that. They open their borders. Oh, we're accepting of everybody. Well, they don't assimilate. They go down and they take up certain neighborhoods, certain streets they can't even police because they can't go down in those neighborhoods. They kind of do their own justice. And what's so sick is to think, where are the women's liberals, the transgender issue? Where are these women coming out? Where are they? Why are they not out protesting? And why would we want a group of people here, Kevin, who do not respect our general beliefs and value system?
Right.
It's just basic common knowledge.
This is when you hear Democrats say the party left me. That's what they're talking about. They now stand for Muslim terrorists over Israel, and they don't care about women's rights. It's unbelievable. That's what the Democrat Party is now.
It's just hard to believe when I think about it, how we've come so far and we're so great, and now we want to go backwards.
And they're going backwards. Yep.
Yeah, and it's really just racism and discrimination, like we've already advanced way beyond. I mean, you look at people in Congress, the diversity of cultures in our Congress, and you can't think that there's not another nation that's gone as far as we have, and we want to step back in time.
For sure. Great call, Mark. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you,
Thank
Kevin.
you so much. Love that rant. He's exactly right. I just see one issue after another where Democrats used to stand for something, they've turned on it. You know, the reason that it resonates with so many people, the boys in girls' sports or men in women's sports, is because that's what the Democrats were known for, was like women's liberation, right? An equal rights amendment, all these different things that they pushed and wanted to advance causes of women. And now they're going backwards. Not only do they just walk away from it, they're doing harm to women. And it's just crazy to watch them work. These people have lost their minds on some of these things, and American voters know it. Mark Alford joins us next. We're going to ask him about Elon Musk's comments on the big, beautiful bill and talk about the great work he's doing on behalf of the people of Missouri. Mark Alford on Uncanceled next on KCMO Talk Radio.
Kevin Kietzman is Uncanceled and back on Kansas City Radio, 10 to 11 a.m. on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
It is always great to have Congressman Mark Alford on the show. Longtime acquaintance, friend, colleague for a few months, way back in the days, doing great work in Washington, D.C., including the passage of the Transparency and Predictability in Small Business Opportunities Act this week. He joins us now to talk about that and, of course, the goings-on of the big, beautiful bill. Hello, Congressman Alford. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Kevin. And in fact, we've talked about this before. You and I shared a desk for a couple of months there at Fox 4, didn't we?
We did. We crossed paths like ships in the night. That was kind of one of those deals. So tell me a little bit about your work with small business opportunities here and the act that was passed and some of the things that it will provide and what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, basically, this is a common sense bill. President Trump is big on common sense. I am the chair of Oversight for Small Business Committee, and we just got through with a hearing with Kelly Loeffler, our new administrator, who is awesome, by the way. Her goal is to move the SBA, a lot of it, out of the swamp and into the heart of America, into our district, in the 4th Congressional District. We are going to be voting on the Save SBA from Sanctuary Cities Act this week, codifying the executive order by President Trump to move these offices out of the sanctuary cities. And while Kansas City technically is not, I'd say it's a first cousin to a sanctuary city. And we're asking Administrator Loeffler to consider moving the SBA office at least down to Raymore, out of the 5th district and into the 4th district. We'll see what happens. But the bill that we got passed has to do with when businesses apply to do business with the government, and they have a lot invested for these contracts. They have legal fees. They'll spend thousands of dollars applying for this, and if they're turned down or don't get it, there's no reason given, and they can't improve next time. And we're asking that the SBA and others tell folks why they did not get these contracts. So it will be a positive thing for small businesses so that they can improve. And a lot of these are very small businesses that don't have the legal staff on hand, that don't have the people, and they spend a lot of man hours saying, hey, we need some transparency in that.
You've also reintroduced the American Land and Property Protection Act. Is this mostly designed to keep China from buying up our farmland in the United States, which obviously affects Missouri quite a great bit? Maybe walk me through what this act is.
Everyone. Kevin, this affects everyone. You just saw on the news today, it was on Fox News this morning, that they busted these Chinese students coming into our great nation with some fungus hidden in a package that was intended, they think, to harm our crops, to spread disease in American farmland. China is not our friend. Other adversarial nations like Venezuela, Russia certainly are not our friends. We do not need them owning land in America. The American Land and Property Protection Act is designed to prohibit any member or their agents from any adversarial nation, as defined by our State Department, from owning any property, any improvements. You couldn't even buy an outhouse in the United States of America if this passes. I think it's far time that we get serious about protecting America.
Yeah, and I don't think there's much pushback on that, even from landowners. If, let's say I own land and the only offer I had was from China or something, and it'd be pretty hard for me to complain and say, I'd really like to sell my land, but my only buyer's China. You know, you ought to be able to do business in the United States, or at least with countries that are friendly. Is there any pushback from anybody on this, like landowners and such, that would say, wait, I still want to have the opportunity to sell my farm for the highest price?
Right. I think there might be, but I think reason will win out, that America is more important than profit. And I think you can get almost the same profit on your land from a non-enemy of the United States of America. I think that's more important than money.
Okay, it sounds like people are optimistic the big, beautiful bill will pass here and become the law of the land within maybe a month or so. My first question about Elon Musk and his comments, and he said, shame on those who voted for it, people, congressmen like you, that the bill is a disgusting abomination. My first question is, before we get into his comments, is he helping or hurting at this point in getting this thing passed by doing this?
Well, I think it hurts. I think it hurts Congress, who we've worked for. I'm on the DOJ caucus. We are working to identify cuts. I'm on the Appropriations Committee for subcommittees. We are beginning that process, and we are taking the DOJ cut recommendations in many of these agencies, and we are going to codify those cuts through the appropriations process. We cannot do all of that through this reconciliation package. There are only certain things that we can touch. There are some things we can't touch, but we're going to get that done through the appropriations package with some right sizing of our government. I'm excited about that. I think Elon right now, and I appreciate his service. He's a good guy. He's smart. He has helped out tremendously. Right now, I think his comments are hurting President Trump and hurting us as a body. And I just respectfully disagree. I appreciate what he has done and will continue to do for our nation, but I disagree with him.
Will the deficit continue to grow under this bill?
Well, look, I don't think so, and here's why. The Congressional Budget Office scores these things, and they are talking about the increase in deficit. When you consider what happened after 2017 when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was first passed, and in 2018, we started getting the numbers in. The CBO had assumed that our economy would grow at like, I think, 1.8%. But in 2018, after those went into effect, the economy grew at a whopping 3%. And the experts are projecting that once this gets done, our economy is going to skyrocket. Once these tariffs settle out, we're going to see much bigger growth. This is by far, with 1.6 or $7 trillion in savings that we have identified, this is the most savings of any bill that Congress will have ever passed. And we've got to make sure that it gets done. We got our job done in the House. I stayed up 36 hours to make sure that happened. The Senate's got to do their job now. And at the end of the day, Kevin, I am confident that this will end up on President Trump's desk, and he will sign it on July 4th, Independence Day.
You know, I think what makes me most hopeful, and I saw Scott Besson do an interview within the last week, and he said, look, you've been telling me for 4 months. I think he was maybe on with CBS or NBC or one of them. You've been telling me for 4 months we're going to have inflation, that the economy's in the tank, that the stock market's toast, and none of that has happened. And now you're telling me that this is going to increase the deficit. And he was all but guaranteeing, give us the 4 years and watch what happens, and we will be reducing the deficit. And, I mean, he was all but guaranteeing it. Are you as confident as he is?
I am. I have seen the plans. I just had a good long conversation with Jason Smith, chairman of Ways and Means. There are other things that we're going to be able to do. The rescission package that's coming to us next week is going to cut $9 billion. In 2 hours or so, I'm going to be at a hearing with the budget director vote, and we're going to be talking about the cuts that we're making to USAID, clawing back this money. It's called a rescission, where the president can send over a package. And look, $9 billion, it's a drop in the bucket. We have $36.5 trillion in debt and growing at a trillion in interest each year. But we are making these small gains right now, and we're going to continue to make those. Once the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act passes, and it will, the bond market will improve. I am hopeful that the interest rates will come down, that people will start being able to buy homes once again, and you will see an uptick in the economy rather quickly.
I guess one of the things that just normal, plain folks out here like me that don't understand the inner workings of government, how it works, is like we'd see a business and we'll watch a big corporation say, hey, we're cutting 3% of the workforce, or we're taking 6% out of the budget, or whatever it is they're doing. I don't understand why our federal government can't just say, look, we need to cut 3% right now of everything, not like non-military or whatever. We just got to cut this much out of everything. Each department is equal. That's not even possible to do, is it?
Well, we did that with this reconciliation package. Each committee was charged with making a certain number of cuts, except for our defense budget, and we added to that what we should be doing, because China is breathing down the neck of Taiwan. We got this madman Putin ready to take over Europe. We have got to be prepared. Peace through strength is strength through peace, as Reagan once said. But we are identifying these cuts. They will not be a straight across the board 3%. That's just not the way it works. But through the leadership of Chairman Tom Cole of the Appropriations Committee, once we finally get the president's budget, we're still waiting on that, the final number, we will be able to delineate through the 12 subcommittees and make the cuts that are in line with the president's budget, and you will start seeing things turn around.
Mark, most of the people that I talk with in my circle believe that attack that Ukraine had on Russia over the weekend, the drone attack, they believe,
Right.
they just believe, and I'm not saying there's any evidence or anything at this point, they believe we were involved. They think that was too precise, too high-tech, too whatever, that it was either us or England or somebody in Europe, that we were the next step involved. And it happened just a few days after Donald Trump said something to the effect of just, he doesn't even know what's going to hit him if he doesn't come to the table and negotiate peace. Is there any feeling in D.C. right now that we could be on the verge of something really bad that the United States could get dragged into?
I think we have been on the edge for 2 years now on that with Putin. Look, there's no question that if he attacks a NATO nation, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Germany, Poland, anyone in that region, we will come to the defense as we under Article 5. And so I'm concerned about that. I was just over in the Netherlands and Sweden and Denmark meeting with prime ministers and defense ministers and generals there and members of our Armed Services Committee here about what do we do? How do we prepare for this? How do we make our systems, our defense systems, interoperable, like our Patriot missile batteries, so we can be ready? But again, we've got to make sure that we are, we're sending some troops to Europe. Germany just last week authorized Ukraine to strike deeper with the weapons that Germany has given them into the heart of Russia, which I see you doing. I don't have any intelligence to suggest, not that I could share it with you, but I'm not privy to any intelligence on my end that the U.S. was involved with this. But I do know that we have gained a vast amount of intelligence through drone warfare because of the war that's been going on. Putin is at fault. Ukraine has fought back. I believe, Russia's lost almost 750,000 men in this fight. And so without, we've spent like $300 billion we've invested. I don't think we should be investing any more money in that fight, but, especially money going to prop up the Ukrainian government or pay for their pensions. But I do know this, Putin cannot keep going. This has to end. I think Trump will eventually end this.
Okay, peacefully end it, you're talking about.
I think it will come to a settlement. I've been saying this for some time now, and folks from Ukraine don't like hearing this, but I think there's going to be Crimea and other regions in the Donbass are going to go to Russia. And I'm not saying that's the best solution. Ukraine doesn't have to recognize it as being part of Russia, so it can be readdressed. But I think there may be some consequences out of that, Kevin, because if Putin sees that as a win, I don't think he's going to stop either.
Yeah. Why do I feel like Europe wants this war? That they want to go ahead and fight this thing out and get rid of Putin and do whatever they got to do. I feel like most of the socialists over there like war and they want this one. And somehow we're attached to them through NATO. I'm scared to death that they want this war. Is that possible?
Well, I was in Poland 2 years ago on my first congressional delegation trip over there, and I can tell you firsthand, they do not want to go to war, but they are ready. Romania is ready. You're seeing a stepped-up contribution by everyone, almost everyone. Germany, not so much. France, not so much, which is really, I don't understand why they're not building their defenses as well. They're trying to get to 5% allegedly now after pressure from President Trump. We're still not at 5% on our defense. But I know Denmark doesn't want to go to war. I don't think anyone wants to go to war with Vladimir Putin, but we have to be ready. We've got to show our strength united to make sure that he doesn't go any further.
4th District Congressman Mark Alford from the great state of Missouri, sir, for a wide variety of topics. Keep up the great work for the people of Missouri, and let's get that bill passed.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. He is just terrific. Always enjoy speaking with Mark Alford, your 4th District Congressman from Missouri. Brought to you by bestofferkc.com, our sponsor here today at Uncanceled, helping you leave the hassle behind. They even have options for you to get cash before closing if you need to get out and move on or move to a different part of the country. This is exactly why Best Offer KC exists, to help people when they're in a tough spot. If you'd like more information or know somebody, a friend, relative that is trying to sell their house quickly without a realtor, doesn't want to clean it up, do all the repairs and all that, and have all the showings, have them call Best Offer KC at 913-338-SOLD. That's 338-SOLD, or log on to bestofferkc.com. Mark and his team at Best Offer KC would love to show you the different options that you have. And again, sometimes they'll even lend you money before closing to help you move on, especially if you need medical treatments and you need to go out of state and move somewhere else. It's bestofferkc.com. It's about people, not the house. They're going to get it. They're going to get it bought. You're going to get it. You're going to sell your home quickly, and you're going to move on to the next phase, whatever that is. They'll make it smooth and comfortable for you. Bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind.
From the nation's heartland, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
Boy, I want to know how excited Mark Van Sickle was last night in the first inning of the Royals game. Bobby Witt Jr. hit a 2-run homer, and then Jack Caglione came up in his first at-bat and almost ripped a double. So Mark was on the over for the game, and he needed Jack Caglione to get a hit in the game, and he would have won both his bets, and they were both paying really good odds. Were you nervous all night, excited all night? What were you feeling?
I was more excited than anything. I mean, just seeing the Royals score runs at all got me out of my seat. I was jumping up and out. The girls were looking at me. We went to Johnny's.
It's been a while. My commentary on Jack Caglione is this. The plate is very small for him. And what I mean by that is pitch can be 3 inches inside, 3 inches outside, and it's still a strike to him. He's so big, the plate is actually smaller, which makes him really hard to pitch to.
I noticed the bat looked small in his hands. He's going to be a beast. That's just what it seems like.
Basquatch said he's never seen anybody with bigger hands. He says you shake his hand, he just like breaks your hand. So, and he hit the ball hard. He hit it 113 miles an hour on a ground ball to third. I think it was the hardest hit ball of the night. I didn't see anything in this first game that led me to believe anything other than, boy, he's got exactly what you're looking for.
Yep. And the hits will come.
They will come. Bobby Witt Jr. was the star last night. He had a 2-run homer and 4 RBIs total. It was cool. Did you notice how many Kansas City fans were in the seats? They kept showing Jack's family, which was a little odd because there were some Royals jerseys. Florida Gators were in there. Some Chiefs stuff was mixed in. Did you notice the wide array of jerseys?
I did, and it seemed like there was more Kansas City fans, just based on when the Royals would score versus when the Cardinals would score. You'd hear the pop for the Royals.
Right. Which is weird because when the Cardinals are here, it feels like there's more of them than us.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. A photo went viral on X, or at least got reposted a bunch. There was a section of Royals fans, and they were wearing some blue, and then there were a couple of Chiefs jerseys. One of them said Mahomes. You know, if you live in St. Louis and you've only got one piece of Kansas City gear, you probably wear that to the game that night. This dude had a Chiefs jersey on. You couldn't see his face. It was just his back. What was the name on the back of the Chiefs jersey at the Royals-Cardinals game?
I missed it.
I know. Take a guess.